This is the Green Card Application Guide, Change of Status from Canadian TN to U.S. Permanent Resident through your spouse. Part 3 of 3, Tips and Lessons Learned. Parts 1 and 2 detailed how to file the application, the interview, and the processing timeline. This concluding part will go over some tips, things to watch out for, and an overview of parts of the application that I got stuck on or made mistakes on. I'll just run through them in no particular order. 1. Tip. Google your questions. I found a few helpful forums that discuss the application process, and it helped me better understand what the application was asking for. Of course, cross-check your sources and don't necessarily trust all the advice you see online. 2. Tip. Consult a lawyer if you get stuck. It may save you months or possible rejection by catching application errors before submission. It's also a serious stress reducer when you know that you have a professional helping you. I browsed Google and Yelp reviews to find a local lawyer that I could meet with. I ended up spending $100 for a consultation where the lawyer gave me all of the information that I needed and that I provided in this video, and then an additional $300 for the lawyer to review my application for any errors or missing information. It was definitely worth the cost because there were a few entries that I messed up that the lawyer caught. I'll go over those mistakes I made in tip number 9. 3. Tip. When selecting a doctor's office, I called around various USCIS designated doctor's offices to find a cost-competitive one. You can find the list of offices by zip code on the USCIS website. Don't pick the cheapest doctor's office for the I-693 form. This may be obvious, but if they make a mistake, as I mentioned that happened to me in part 2 of this video series, then it could cost you months in delays. My wife and I estimated that my doctor's office costed us at least a month in delays in getting my green card. 4. Tip. If you don't have your immunization records, which is the case for me, then just request all the vaccinations. I went to a CVS Minute Clinic to get all of mine with a script from a doctor working on my I-693 form. My arm was a little sore, but it wasn't bad. The nurse practitioner affirmed me not to be concerned about getting all vaccines simultaneously, so I went ahead and did that. Your other option is to get a titer test and determine which immunities you have. 5. Tip. For the interview, bring as much evidence as possible. I brought printouts of text messages between my wife and I, keeping it PG, and a collection of pictures from our time together, along with some flattering wedding photos. My thought is that anything you can do to help legitimize your relationship in the steel-like eyes of USCIS is beneficial. 6. Warning. Do not travel with a pending green card application. Unless you received your advanced parole travel permit, you need to stay in the United States. If you leave the country with a processing application, you are considered as having abandoned your application and risk immediate rejection. There are ways to request emergency travel approval, but I'm not familiar with that process. 7. Tip. Don't fully trust the USCIS website notification updates. They were only partially up to date as I was going through the application process. While I recommend checking to get a general idea of status, it's likely not current. 8. Note. I never did receive advanced parole to allow me to travel, nor did I receive a temporary EAD card. I'm not sure if that's because the application process was quick enough to make those documents moot, or if USCIS just forgot about them. 9. Application tips. This is the part where I'll go over mistakes I made in the application that I or my lawyer caught. I said this before, but sign everything in ink. It's okay to fill out the forms digitally, but each signature line needs to be done with a pen. What the heck is your A number? If you have one, your alien registration number would have been assigned on a previous immigration document. I found mine on an old EAD card. What is your non-immigrant visa number? This pertains to I-485 Part 1 number 19. If you are on a TN1 visa like I was, then this is not applicable, so write N/A. For number 22A and 23C, I entered TN1. Of course, this applies if you're currently on a TN1 visa like I was. Mistakes I made that the lawyer caught. Form I-130, Part 4, number 13A. Make sure you list the address in Canada or your home country. I accidentally listed same which was fine for number 12A, but the lawyer said that the USCIS will want to see I have an address of origin outside of the United States. Form I-130, Part 4, number 61A and 61B, I was inclined to list the nearest town with a USCIS office, which was Detroit for me. The lawyer corrected it to match the shipping address for the application package, which was Chicago, Illinois. The USCIS Chicago lockbox address is where the mailed application should be addressed. Don't worry that this will affect your interview location because, from what I understand, the USCIS sets your interview location to your current or intended physical address in the US that you list at the beginning of the application. Form I-131, Part 1, Number 6, Class of Admission, I entered TN1-NAFTA Principal, followed by Canada in parentheses. I think I found that verbiage in an online immigration forum, and it worked. Form I-131, Part 7. At the beginning of Part 7, the form asks for a separate paper with an explanation how you can qualify for an advance parole document. The lawyer said that this is not needed, so I removed mine from the application. Note, I never did receive advance parole travel authorization, so maybe it's because I didn't fill this line out. I'm not certain, so you may want to get a second opinion. Part 7, Number 1. Check more than one trip, even if you don't intend to make one business trip or personal international trip. Number 2A and 2B, leave those boxes blank. You will not list any destination. I also left boxes 3 and all of 4A through 4J blank. That concludes the video series. Feel free to leave a comment if you have any questions, and I'll try to guide you in the right direction. Keep in mind that I am not an immigration lawyer, officer, or expert. I'm just a fellow immigrant sharing my experience. Hopefully this video helped you out. Like and subscribe if it did.